Good day, everyone, and warm welcome from the Mobile Ecosystem Forum. I'm Matt Ikram, Advisor for Asia and Program Director for Payments and Commerce at MEF. And it's a pleasure to have you all with us today. Our session is titled MVNOs, Same Clients, More Revenue, Real Case Studies that Prove It. It is a timely and important topic because while many MVNOs are competing in saturated markets, the real opportunity lies not in chasing new customers, but in unlocking more value from the ones they already have. So, put some perspective, the global MVNO market is on track to more than double from 85 billion in 2023 to 173 billion by 2032. And that growth is being driven by smarter engagement, stronger customer experience, and innovative use of data and automation. Today, it's a pleasure that we're joined by two experts from Digital Tide, a company that has been working closely with operators and MVNOs worldwide to help them accelerate customer-centric growth. Let's give a warm welcome to Ana Gonzales, Marketing Team Lead, and Roman Zahidi, Content Marketing Manager. Ana and Roman will share real-world case studies and proven strategies showing how leading MVNOs are driving retention, reducing churn, boosting ARPU, all without acquiring single new client. They'll walk us through a framework for sustainable MVNO growth, exploring how personalization, automation, and feedback loops can turn customer satisfaction into measurable profit. So with that, let's get started. Ana and Roman, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Matt, for the nice and kind introduction. I'm here with my colleague, Roman. We are from the Digital Tide, and we would like to share a little bit of what we have learned in many years, actually, of 15 years of experience in the telecom industry and working with telecom operators. So our topic of discussion today is elevating the MVNOs through customer experience and how to provide better for your clients while generating more revenue from the same clientele base. So thank you. The first slide. Well, as we said, like we discussed, we have like over 15 years of experience. We have worked with operators worldwide with more than 100,000 of them, and more than 60,000 end user customers. We have a platform called Digital Tide Cloud PBX, and this Cloud PBX platform is what we offer to operators for them to be able to connect with their own B2B clients. So we want to share with you guys today our experience on how telecom operators can provide a better service while and how can they understand better the situation. And we have a framework that we have developed through our experience, and we would like to share that. Can we move, please, to the next slide?
Is it in this slide?
Yes, the next one, please. Yeah, okay, sorry, the previous one. It was not showing for me. So, as Matt already mentioned, we understand that the MVNOs right now have a very big opportunity. The market is really booming, and it's projected to even double in the next few years. So, as the market grows, competition as well. So, how do you set yourself apart from your competitors in order to create more revenue for your own business? So, that's why we think like you need to find a way to differentiate yourself from others. And how can you do that? And of course, the answer is providing high value products or results for your own customers. Can we go please to the next one? Thank you. And the current dilemma that any operator is facing right now is how do we, in the same lines, how do we grow in revenue? How do we retain subscribers? How do we differentiate from others? Especially when we have cases like, it happens a lot in South America and also in Asia. You have, well, in some countries, especially in South America, for example, in Europe, you have the existence of business WhatsApp. So how do you provide voice service while competing with WhatsApp, for example? How do you provide a platform where clients will use your service, stay in your customer base, and at the same time, not jump to the competition or even just to simple free WhatsApp calls? So how do you do the voice there, right? So how do you differentiate from others? So in here, we're going to, and of course, when it comes to, for example, telephony, if you're selling numbers as a telecom operator, if you're selling numbers and it comes in telephony, many people are driving away from telephony because it's kind of old-fashioned, right? So what will be the best option instead of running away from telephony will be to provide some sort of voice service that you can connect to telephony to make it more digitalized, to keep it on the devices using internet only, or even sometimes not even internet. So we will share with you right now. Please, Roman, you can pass you the for you to continue, please, sharing our particular cases and the framework.
Thank you, Anna. So, based on our research and our experience over the years, we've worked with telecom operators all over the world. We've come to realize that there are certain practices that these MVNOs have to follow in order to adapt, because it's, of course, a very competitive environment that everyone has to survive in, and the process is not easy for everyone. But a blueprint or framework that we are showing are like we would consider through our experiences the best practices that helps like build upon to create a more powerful engine for growth, for establishing a strong foundation to delivering unique high value services. So these 5 best practices, we go through them through our presentation as to why we consider them like the most unique opportunities for MVNOs to take, and that this will help them really grow in this competitive environment. So begin the foundation. So the onboarding and communication, these are the first 2 practices we would consider. And onboarding, simply put, just as most MVNOs provide a SIM card, as for an example. The entire process for a new customer coming on board and getting the new SIM card, is it a hassle? Is it difficult? And that entire process, now, of course, through different countries, rules and regulations apply, and things can be different. But in general, is it a slow and clunky process? Do you have to wait for your a SIM card to get activated? So this kind of kills the happiness, the opportunity for the new client to become a long-lasting member. Will eventually, what will happen? They might not like the services from the get-go, and they might just drop it. And this is through our research, we saw that this is quite common, and that because of these frustrations, on average, 30% of customers tend to drop the services with the provider and switch over to another provider just because of initial hiccups. And so proactive communication, this is the second practice. Again, MVNOs should start practicing more. And this is building transparency with their clients. And that means informing them that, okay, we're planning a service outage today at this region, this area, at this time. All these things, if there's clarity, if there's information provided, then the customer thinks that, okay, good, that at least I know I can prepare. I'm not caught off guard. I don't have to sit in a meeting and then suddenly my internet stops working and then I'm freaking out what to do. So all these considerations should be taken as a factor of a client's happiness. So these frustrations should be minimized, and it's a very important way to build a culture or retaining your clients in long term. Because once they know that you are a company that cares about them, that is providing all this meaningful information and providing alerts and regular updates on what's going on, then there shouldn't be a problem in keeping these clients in long term. for our third and fourth practice, we say self-service and personalization. So self-service, and this has now become a more of a unique thing, of course, with our generations become more technologically inclined. So now people like to do things themselves. They don't want to 100% rely on the company to take care of everything. That means that now companies should start giving some control to the users themselves. They don't want to just pay for services and not know what's going on. And this is what we one of our clients as well, our cases that we'll discuss later on, that this is what they had introduced, because what happens is that clients, they are they are looking for more unique things. Some may require more mobile data and less voice calling, and some vice versa. So in these cases, nobody wants to pay a premium for a feature they're not going to use. They prefer a more bespoke approach, like a more tailored approach to their packages. And if someone wants to pay for just using mobile data, now they should have that opportunity and to completely select every feature that they want specifically. So allowing clients to specifically choose what they want to sign up for. These are like very important things. And self-service portals, like, or apps, these are a great way for clients to now manage their own accounts and improve their satisfaction. And simultaneously, this helps the MVNOs reduce their operational costs, because they don't have to manually spend the time or hire uh, agents to take care of these services themselves. That you wouldn't have to manually go up to the sales representative at the store and ask them, hey, could you please change my package or something. So now all the power is gone in the hands of the client. So the next practice, the fourth practice, personalization of services. It's the most powerful lever an MVNO can have. This is when you just stop selling SIM cards and start involving unique business challenges. It's about identifying a high value segment and offering a tailored solution that can't get elsewhere. The ultimate proof of this is the results of our partners, Molcel and Queso. They both use personalized value added services, in our case, Cloud PBX, to transform their businesses, resulting in an 18% revenue stream and 37% market share for Queso. Okay.
Actually, Roman, I have a question. Maybe, well, I would love to dig further into the Modcell and Kcell story. So maybe you can give a bit of background. Who are they? You know, where they're located. You know, what kind of operator they are. You know, for Modcell and Kcell. Yeah.
Molcel and Queso, we have those. I'm actually going to go in detail later on, but
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Just a quick overview. They are MVNOs as well, and they just are located in Europe. And of course, they were not very well. They were looking for a new way in order to generate more revenue, right? And of course, they had their hiccups with with growth. And it was through our research working with them that we understood that these were the same problems that they were facing in general is a big problem for major MVNOs as well all over the world. And so that's why we decided to break down these practice process to explain how to other MVNOs as well, what's going on, how they can fix it.
And of course the Modcell Kcell are not unique. This is the same situation MVNOs come across and the challenges across the globe.
No matter the country, the region, it doesn't matter. These are because it's a very competitive industry where the revenue on the average, if we're focusing only on like telecommunication section, just on SIM cards, it's hardly 1 to 2% revenue growth per year. And that is extremely minimal for especially for large telecom operators like Telefonica. This is not sustainable growth. So of course they have to identify the first way to fix a problem is to know we have a problem, then identify the problem and work on the problem. So these problems were highlighted, they were worked on, and we saw very successful results with Molsa and KSO. So
Okay.
it was
And you will actually like expand more on these two case study. Yeah, perfect. I'll let you continue. Thanks, Roman.
So afterwards, the fifth practice we consider is continuous improvement through feedback. So when we talk about continuous improvement, this is a never-ending rotation, right? You have to constantly understand like what's going on with the client, right? Like I explained before, you have to be transparent and using survey tools to collect information. That's the first step. Listen to your client. You need to identify what your users are complaining about, and everyone has a complaint about it. It could be bad phones reception in your area, bad packages, bad uh, services in general, or from a business perspective, maybe they're not operating and they're not providing PBX services or some other. So of course, everyone has their own hiccups. Every MVNO has their problems, and it's important that you identify and collect all this information to highlight that okay, these should be our highest priority. That's where we come to the point of analysis. So we need to analyze that what's going on, what's the long-term gratifications as a that what's going to happen to us by the next year if we do not fix these problems within the next 3 to 6 months or a year. Especially if you're not being transparent with your client and not providing any information as to what's going on, then the possibility of you losing your customer is extremely high. It is very much a possibility you will lose the client within the first 3 months, and that's why it's a lot of MVNOs at startup. It's a very difficult business to survive in, and what ends up they end up merging or getting subsidized, well, absorbed by bigger companies, of course, because new competition is easy to absorb. But what happens is in the end they can't keep up with the clients, and they end up just closing off their services. So analysis and listening are two first very important and valuable points of what they must you must do as an MVNO. Third, you must act upon quickly adapt your services and processes upon these new findings. So, for example, again, we will elaborate on more our clients. KSL, they had a scenario where they needed a new service in order to sustain themselves because competing only on traditional telecom operations and providing SIM cards and eSIMs, it wasn't exactly a sustainable growth for them. So the point was that they had to think of something new, and that's where, in this case, they gave cloud PBX services to their clients. They targeted a new segment, B2B clients, which they saw that there wasn't much competition, of course, and they understood that they listened to their audience. They found customers that they had the issue. They analyzed the problem and what type of solution they need. They quickly adapted to it by providing and launching their own services and offerings, and quickly they managed to capture market share because of that. And of course, because this is a loop, you have to go in full circle with this. They communicated that they launched a new service. They did the marketing. They did everything right as they were supposed to for their audience, and this allowed them to stay competitive and grow significantly in the market. So these are four very unique and important points of the fifth practice, which I would consider, in my opinion, the most important point, because feedback. It's more important to solve what the client wants instead of, sometimes it's not necessary that you need to reinvent the wheel. In this case, you just need to listen to what the client wants and just act upon it.
So Roman, back to the flywheel. Just to summarize what you're saying, I mean, in terms of K-cell, the learning point from the K-cell example, by learning, by listening, you understand that the SIM and the traditional selling eSIM and SIM are pretty much a commodity, and so that's not a sustainable profitability for them. Analyzing some of the pain points and identifying the new segment. I mean, you guys were able to identify that, let's offer PABX services to the same customer, and then they implemented it, and then they communicated that through to their clients. So that it's a very simple flywheel, as I can see it, by this continuous improvement, and just by using this very simple flywheel, you can deliver results.
It's funny how simple it is, but
Yeah.
yet many MVNOs still struggle that, okay,
Right.
how do we sustain our own growth? What's going on? Why are we still losing clients? And
Great. So,
yes, of course, there are limitations and restrictions, and not everything can be done within the next 1 year. Maybe they have a problem that is restricted by government patents or something in order to implement new towers, cell towers, could be stuck because of budget. Could be. It's understandable that there are many things that can be out of an MVNO's control, right? But it's also important that we find solutions, either working with other providers for sharing, towers, or in order to expand and maintain your services. Because, of course, at this time where technology is now at the age of AI and connection transformation, everyone wants the best. Everyone wants services with 5G minimum 5G technology. They want fast access to internet with low latency and no issues in streaming, and so all these factors uh, are all clients' wants, their needs, and they have evolved to become needs because 15 years ago, people 15 to 20 years ago, people wanted internet. They didn't need internet as much as now that it's integral, that you're growing up, even from a child to an office, and everyone requires high quality internet, high speed internet. So it's important that you somehow create solutions to meet these needs. And through this wheel, it is okay. You analyze it, or you have a problem. Now act on it. Now, what solutions you can work on in order to provide these services. Try to implement them as fast as you can, and they should be forecasted. That you should forecast that. Okay, now my company is growing. These are what the demands are going to be of my clients. All a bit unique, at the same time it is very common what people want. So as our first case study, as I discussed K-cell, now Anna, I think you want to add points on it first, or
Actually, I think everything boils down to how we see it in reality. And these case studies are an excellent example of that. Maybe we can dive into the case studies. So, yes, so basically we're talking here about K-cell. K-cell is one of the largest telecom operators in Kazakhstan in Central Asia. And in the market of Central Asia, K-cell was positioned at number 2, number 1, competing with Beeline, the first one in the market. So what happened was that over time, because the B2B services are quite necessary to improve, to always optimize, and to show something new, especially now in the era of technology, Beeline, the number 1, and others started offering a service called Cloud PBX, voice services, basically. And so they took over the market, right? So and only over the market, but they were taking also the clients from K-cell. They were taking the clients from there to the competitors. So in this moment, KSET had to make a decision. How can we how can we leverage technology or the voice platforms in order to keep retain our clients and to provide to the same clients something new that could make the difference in the services we offer, and maybe even recruit new clients. So after dealing with a lot of security protocols and different other nuances that they have to go over, they decided to work with us, with Digital Tide, in order to work on Cloud PBX service for B2B companies, for the clients. So the Cloud PBX platform, it's the Cloud PBX platform is basically, we offer a white label Cloud PBX platform for them. So there already offers an operator set system like telephony or mobile telephony, for example. And what they do is they connect that to our platform. So the calls will enter the platform, and it will be assigned to whether a computer, a laptop, a phone. So it is much easier to manage any calls. So the clients will not, the sellers from your team, from your clients, will not lose any calls. They will be able to track what's going on the sales process. And that way they will deliver high value to the clients. So we deliver this process very rapidly and secure, and we managed to have very security standard with them, and all B2B SaaS regulations, allowing KSL to launch and record in time. So the results were quite good because, as I mentioned before, they were number 1 or 2 in the market as a telecom operator in general, but they were nowhere to be found in the industry of voice for B2B companies. And they were losing clients. After they implemented the platform, they were able to take on the first place. They capturing 37% of the market share, which was, of course, great news for them. And they achieved significant sales growth internally, meaning keeping the consumers, connecting the list of consumers to the platform, and getting on some new ones. And even though they did it without the initial FMC integration, which sometimes is better to use, but they were able to defend the market and the consumer base with this platform. So that was definitely a successful story, which show us that they were, as I mentioned, they were not taking the first place at the beginning. The competitors they jumped into this new technology of Cloud PBX, and they were taking on their clients. So they had to be very quickly to make a decision and to be able to offer the service. So yes, that's basically the case of KSale. Can we move on to
just
yes,
a few points as well, and just so, as you can see on our previous practice, because our research with them, we had seen their data, their churn rates, we had seen all the information they provided, and they asked us, okay, how can you help us, right, when it came to these problems. And of course, it was through implementing these steps, these practices that we mentioned before as well, and most importantly, the wheel of fortune, that we helped them achieve this significant market cap. And so yeah.
Yes. The case of MoldSelf is a bit different. So MoldSelf is a company, the largest telecom operators in Moldova, Eastern European country. And in this case, MoldSelf was not generating new revenue from the clientele. Actually, they were actually losing clients from using telephony, as it was kind of outdated and they were presented with better options. So that was definitely an issue. And they were trying to come up with an idea on how can they not only lose the clients, but offering them something more relevant or with high value for them. Because of course, in this business, as we were mentioning before, like people want to get the most they can get through their investments. So they started thinking about incorporating Cloud PBX in their services as an add-on for the clientele they already had. So in our proposal is basically a zero capex, 2 weeks deployment, which is very fast, and a share revenue. So that's why they decided to go on and take this chance, as they saw that they needed to create new options to keep up the clients. So our solution was really like zero capex revenue share model. This meant like there was no upfront financial risk for Molcel in order to start jumping into white label Cloud PBX. And our approach includes swift deployment, integration to the Ericsson IMS core, and completed US customization. That is also very important. So we not only providing the white label Cloud PBX, we customize it to the brand so that the client can provide to their own clients, for example, a Molcel Cloud PBX solution. So we are not there. It's their product, it's their solution for their clients. So in one platform, the clients can find everything. They can find the settings, they can find voice recording in order to improve the quality of their calls for the sales for the future, and they can configure everything they need for themselves. So it's basically very easy for the end user to use the service of the platform. So after, of course, providing the training to the company for the teams how to sell, we provide also support in the marketing department in order how to show how to communicate this message, and also technical support for the team to be able to configure and to set up everything that needs to be set up before launching the product. So the results speak for themselves. You can see here the numbers that were part of the success of Molcel. So in the first year alone, they acquired 250 new corporate clients, which is like basically brand new clients, and they connected over 1,000 business lines. So each line connected to the platform, right? So they record breaking like in 1-2 days onboarding, which we were discussing as a customer service key point. Like clients want to get products and use them easily. They don't want to spend too much time trying to understand how a product works, trying to understand how to set up everything. So it needs to be done very quickly. So the period of onboarding was 1-2 days average, which it was very, very cool for them because compared to others, you know, when you try to install something, normally you don't have this onboarding. You have to go to customer service and tell to different type of people the same problem over and over, and still not finding a solution for it. So that was that, and that helped, of course. You see that when the end user or your client feels like it's being heard, it feels like you're listening to them and taking their problems into consideration, you generate fidelization and loyalty. So that's why they grow in 18%. The new service has grown to continue 18% of the value B2B add-ons and revenue. So yes, so this story really helped us to understand how operator business launched something new that was not still yet in the market. It was launching Cloud PBX was something new, and they became definitely the number one in the market. After them, competitors started to also try to offer Cloud PBX. Like you have, of course, the ones that are from the website, so they are not built from scratch, that are cheaper, but at the same time, they are difficult to configure. So that's also another difference in terms of technicality and platform. And even with competitors, Molcel still remains until today the number one in the market.
And Anna, I just want to add to
Yes.
the one message that you put together. I think, you know, as I talk to many of the MVNOs and operators, especially in Asia, I mean, the idea of adding more CapEx, you know, putting more adding more CapEx, trying to build ROI, trying to build new services, that's quite challenging because because they're already under pressure from the current business, the current revenue. So for them to justify, okay, I'm going to spend another 50, couple of $millions to realize that's a challenge. And I think what your model propose, might be a sustainable model for many MVNOs, whereby you do revenue sharing, zero CapEx. So that could be an interesting proposition to help many of the MVNOs compete in this market.
Yes, definitely. Like what we understand is that consumer expectations are changing. People want to get more for the buck, basically. And yes, everybody wants to have different type of good results with the little that you can invest. So what do we do as telecom operators, MVNOs, to be able to offer that to our clients and not lose it to big corporations? It's to have a good product. You have to have a very good product that you can swear by it and say like, okay, I will give you this to my clients to stay with me. You don't have to pay much more, just an add-on, an extra price, and you continue with me, you continue using our whole products, right? So that's why. And yes, I think something that helps is how fast it can be implemented. So we can talk right now and agree on this in 2 weeks, it's ready to go. So that is also very good. So you can jump into the market very fast. And definitely we believe and we stand behind our product. So that's why we think, that's why we do this no capex. So you don't have to invest anything and you can really take the plunge with us and test it, and try it and use it. And you will be surprised by the results as the cases we discussed. Mm-hmm.
Of course, like you mentioned, in this industry, nobody wants to really spend some millions more just to start a new service, especially when you're competing in a market where an average revenue growth is 1 to 2% per year. This makes it very difficult and not sustainable at all long term, unless of course you have some significant significant portion of the market share, especially as a new MVNO, it wouldn't be sustainable option.
Yeah, especially if you are a small business, it's very expensive to try something new or any new technology. That's why the share revenue allows you to have and zero capex. It helps you to invest in nothing, test the platform, and if you win, we win. So that's the thing, if you generate revenue, we generate revenue.
So I know we have 20 minutes, so I just want to make sure you kind of went through the presentation. I have a couple of questions myself in our kind of panel session. So Roman and Anna, yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to add 2 more points about wholesale. Again, this was a client that started like they owned no significant market share. They were a company completely were trying to start from scratch back in 2016, and for them, their stagnant revenue in the market was like they had no growth at all in many years, and it was only through a realization that okay, we need to create a new opportunity for ourselves as an MVNO, where to compete, where to stand out, and analyzing, of course, the market, listening to what the client was, providing services, a service that the client is happy with, that they can use and control themselves. And they tested it out, of course, since our perspective is cloud PBX for MVNOs. This is how they implemented these points, and it's not just limiting to cloud PBX. It's any other service that the telecom operator can launch, be it, let's say, a new SIM card, a specific SIM card for eSIMs. Still, a lot of telecom operators do not offer eSIMs. Now, if they seem to launch an eSIM service, they need to understand that okay, how easy is it going to be to set up for the client? Will it, what services would they want to implement? And of course, how many clients in which region, in which area are going to actually be able to use eSIMs? Because of course, still not every phone supports eSIM technology. It's still something relatively new that's hardly in the past 5-6 years that's become quite common. But of course, they would want to maintain the speeds, high quality internet. Of course, very valuable asset to have. So these practices is not limited only to cloud PBX services. It is something that can also be applied as a rule for launching any new other service or even current services that are being offered. That okay, work on this, work on the wheel, or follow these 5 steps, and you should be able to see significant changes in your revenue.
Great. So are we like to move on to our kind of more panel question and answer session? Let me check if we have any question from the audience. If not, we can go to that. And Roman, Anna,
Okay.
are you guys wanna
Yes,
kind of?
we're ready.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So let's just kind of make this very, very like fireside chat, quick, crisp question and answer, because I do have a lot of questions for you both. So that like from a big picture, to start out from a big picture. So you're made it clear that CX is now the true battleground for MVNOs. And so from where you sit today, and what is driving the new urgency in customer experience? Is it technology, competition, or the changing consumer expectation? Yeah.
In my opportunity, sorry, my opinion, I would say it is definitely the change in technology right now that's driving customer experience, because everyone wants to try the new thing, with what's coming in the market. Tomorrow it will be 6G. That is 100% guaranteed. 6G eventually is going to come to the market. So the first operator that's going to launch that service is of course going to see reputation growth. Of course, the market will notice that okay, this operator means it also shows a certain brand authority that this MVNO has the caliber to launch such a new technology. That means that of course they have the backing. They have the technology. They own the technology. They're able to implement these things. So their services must be good. So in long-term perspective, I would say that first to launch these services, then to, of course, there might be some problems launching it. Yes, there are always going to be some, when something new launches, there might be bugs. That's understandable, but generally people are ready to take the risk to try new things. And so I think definitely when it goes to customer experience, that when new technology is launched, people will be relatively, they will give feedback, but people are happy because it shows there's a new change, there's a new update, that the company is trying to improve its services. It's not just staying stagnant and then like, okay, we are where we are and let's just stay with what we have. And it shows that the company is not going to demand new things or grow, or is not interested in what their client needs.
Right. So in terms of like, okay, so you mentioned in one of your that you serve today of over 100 operators worldwide. And I'd like to know if you see any regional pattern or difference, Africa, Asia, Europe. How is our MVNO's approach in customer experience different?
Yeah, so definitely there's a huge difference between regions. As Roman was saying, like having a very good experience or delivering a good experience in technology is not just something nice to have, but it's something that you must, as a business, have for your company in order to differentiate from others. So in our experience, like we find difference between, for example, Asian markets or European markets. Even, for example, in Asia, we believe that we think that everything is mobile first. So, and everything is in one platform, easy to use. So you should be able to, the clients expect to pay their bills, to do the communication, to even work, everything through the same, let's say on your mobile. Even better than just on the mobile from different applications, but in one application. So everything in one place is the way to go for Asia. So definitely technically wise, it's very difficult to achieve that for any small business, right? Because it will require a lot of developing and, creating a good modern product. So that's when it comes to Asian markets. In the case of European markets, we think that, or I think that where they focus a lot is also in security, right? Like data security, securing my private information, privacy, transparency. So that's something that is also important to mention and to think of when you're offering a product. It's not just about, for example, there is one feature that is about call recording. So you can record the calls, right? So, but for example, you will record a call in order to improve your service as a sales manager or as a business owner. That makes sense, and it sounds like it's a great feature. But in terms of, for example, European countries and markets there, they will show concern about how much can we record? Can we record without the consent of the other people, right? So that's why you should put in place a feature and configurations that could help you with that, like whether you want to activate it or whether you ask in advance the client if they are okay with that. So this kind of like in terms of law, it's quite important, and it's like a responsible personalization. So you want to personalize your application, you want to personalize your system and your setup, but at the same time you should be wary of what will mean to others in terms of transparency and privacy. And then, for example, we have Africa, right? In Africa, it's more about what we think and we work with. To have some partners right now from Africa that we're talking to and doing business with. And what they want in what we see is that they like to have like data efficiency, right? They look for easy accessibility, but at the same time that it's not too heavy, that it's not too weighty, and that it's easy to manage, but it doesn't take too much to manage. So then we need to think about, for example, SMS. How can you communicate? Use that. Maybe you can think of CRMs as well, so it will be easier, the flow from the platform of Cloud PBX to connect with other platforms, so I don't have to load in my contacts on the Cloud PBX platform, and then I have to manually copy paste to a CRM tool. But if there's an integration, it will be easy transferable from one app to the other one. So yes, so like having, for example, proactive alerts, like I know I have to pay this bill, or I have to, what is my network availability, and things like are like to make life easy, basically. It's what we understand in the markets like Africa. And every market is really different, right? Right now we're working with Latin America, and we are understanding they have completely different needs as well. So they want something similar to Africa and Asia, I would say. It's a combination, Latam. They want an easy to use tool and everything in one place when it comes to like having everything in one application, all in one. So that will be the differentiation we have seen across regions and markets.
Perfect. So let's kind of switch understanding the consumer experience. You mentioned about 30% of the consumer are ready to switch their telecom service provider. So I guess the question for you guys is what's the most common experience failure that pushes them to make that switch? So I mean that's a pretty big loss for the MVNOs if that happened.
It's almost because the most common failure I think we've seen was when no effort is being put in, when the customer keeps demanding, and they see that the MVNO, their provider, is not putting any effort, in fixing their issues. Like, let's say if I'm living in the area and I'm constantly complaining, I'm not getting any reception, or my internet is persistently bad, that is most commonly going to be the headache that I know is not going to go away soon. Of course, it's not something I can just call up a MVNO and tell them, hey, can you put a cell tower nearby or something like that. Of course, that's not going to be possible. That might take years before any change is implemented. So these uh, these are the most common reasons that we've seen is failure to deliver. And the MVNO just fails, promise, does not deliver on time, or at least does not communicate what's going on, what steps, or uh, in these cases, it just causes frustration with the clients, and they get confused on what to do. And then also a lot of the case very closely related is how a customer has to launch a complaint. This was also we noticed that because this goes ahead, and now the client is already frustrated that he has a problem, and now second of all, if he has to launch a complaint, he's not able to launch a complaint because the lines are busy trying to launch a complaint, or whatever reason not available. So in those cases, they just will reach the last straw, and they're not taking it, or they just switch over. And 30% of the cases, that's what happens. They just lose hope in their own MVNO, and they have no choice in switch over.
So let's talk about the onboarding experience. I mean, your one of your comment, which is very interesting, is that the first 90 seconds of the onboarding, wins the heart of the consumer.
Yeah.
Pretty bold statement there. Define the
Yeah.
relationship. So what's the example of where an MVNO improved the activation speed or onboarding flow and saw a direct impact on their churn?
Yeah, so a perfect example of this is a mall sale that we were discussing before. And even though they serve a B2B industry, it's still the principle is the same, really. People want to be on board very quickly, right? So they work, for example, with restaurants, car dealer shops, and different types of small business, right? So at the end, there are people as well who want to be on board very quickly to start using the service. So in the case of mall sale, they reduce the time of onboarding to 1-2 days, which is really, really a huge advantage compared to other platforms where you have to onboard even yourself. And that helps them to create trust with the provider of the white label, and also to create trust with your own business, small business clients. In the consumer space, more or less, we work with an operator who was physically mailing SIM cards to the client, and normally mailing takes like 5 to 3 days, 3 to 5 days, more or less. So by implementing the platform, like they had like an eSIM flow, and that means that they can cut the activation period to 5 minutes. So imagine reducing time from 3 to 5 days to 5 minutes. It's just crazy. So that impact and 25% reduction in their 60-day churn rate. So that's quite good as well. So they capture that way the customer excitement in them, and it was quite good for them in terms of generating that loyalty. So I think like the first 90 seconds are very important. 91st seconds of the call is very important. So in that time, if you focus on showing very clearly, these are the steps to start using the platform, this is how you can benefit from Cloud PBX, then it will be very simple for them to understand and to become loyal to your brand.
So yeah, I think you're gonna answer my next question, which is the the activation from eSIM and KYC, and how the instant gratification moment is very essential for to deliver the best customer experience. So maybe a bit of the moving on to my next one is many small MVNOs don't have deep IT resources. What's the one quick win that they can adopt today to make an onboarding experience smoother without heavy technology investment?
For small MVNO, the quickest and the most powerful win is to partner with for the platform. So they need to have a partnership. This is precisely the problem that we solved as well. Instead of a heavy upfront tech investment for K-cell or MoldCell, they just adopted our solution. Of course, I have to give our example because it's the closest. This turns a massive capital expenditure, like as you had mentioned before, investing millions in CapEx and all these things. It would not be sustainable for a small MVNO. So the best solution for them is to, of course, go into a partnership to expand their services. At least they can share their towers and at least provide their clients a more consistent service throughout the region, throughout whatever region they're located, be it Europe, be it Africa. But if they are not providing their connections in those certain areas due to certain constraints due to upfront costs, then of course, in the best case scenario is to partner with someone who is providing a service over there and work together.
So I know I have actually a lot of questions, but I know we're 2 minutes from the end of this session, but I want to give both of you my last question. If you were to give one piece of advice to an MVNO CEO who wants to transform their customer service from a cost center to a growth engine, what would it be?
That's a quite good question. So I think we both have a different type of advice or more advice to give you with Roman. So let me start. I would say, like, instead of reacting, let's take action, right? So let's first see what's going on in your market, understand what are the needs of your client, and see if you can provide something extra. Before switching technologies, I think you can, in thinking, for example, telephony in the case of voice is dead, you can think of how can we modernize these two? How can we modernize what we already have, which means not investing from zero to create something fully new, but to improve something that you already have in order to create more revenue from the clients that you already have. So kind of look inside, what can you do to do things better? And then think of the options, right? So in this case, we have a built from scratch platform that gives you more control in terms of the configurations that you can have and the features that you can offer, like CRMs, for example, etc. Right? So that would be one. So thinking, like, stop like treating the customer experience as a department and start treating it as your primary product. So how can you show them that? Then think about the other things. So you provide your clients not only with the network, but you also provide with the support, like support in terms of marketing, in terms of sales, or how can they, like, also be comfortable using your tool and provide more revenue from themselves as well. Maybe Roman, you have something else to add?
My point is that most of the MVNOs know what their problems are. They know what their clients are complaining about. They should identify those problems internally and then also communicate back to the clients that yes, we understand that this is a problem. This is what we're doing to work on it. This is what we're going to do. Give a roadmap to your clients. Help them understand that what's going on. Don't leave them in the dark. All these things, and then also internally, this provides an MVNO an opportunity that they don't have to always seek for something new. If they know they can provide something to their clients, work on it, and just provide what they're asking for. It's not always necessary to launch something entirely new. Maybe the problem can be already fixed with existing technology.
Thank you, guys. So before we end, I think maybe do you have a slide that if anybody wants to contact you on your email and how best to reach out to you? So yeah.
If you want our contact information, definitely is down here below. always reach out to us on our email and check out our website as well. And if you have any questions, do write to us. And yes, thank you.
Wonderful. So to wrap up, I want to thank both Anna Gonzales and Roman Zahidi from Digital Tide for this, wonderful session on basically helping how we can help MVNOs realizing more revenue through through their existing customer today. So thank you both. With that I end this session, and you guys have a great week ahead.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye for
Thank you
now.